Alright guys, so welcome back to part 6 of the Trackhawk 300 build. I know I haven't posted in a while. I've been waiting on this exact harness to come up from the dealership for the past like 2 weeks. So it showed up today. We are installing it. If you guys remember when we first bought the Trackhawk, it was damaged on the passenger side front end. So the connector for the PCM that is part of the engine harness was also damaged. And instead of cheaping out and replacing just the pigtail for the PCM, I went the right way and we're replacing the whole entire engine harness. Alright guys, got the engine harness all buttoned up, everything's plugged back in. Now you're going to see me replacing the coolant tubes that run underneath the supercharger, the ones that go to the firewall and then go to the heater core. And the only way to do that is you have to take off the supercharger because they run right underneath it. So that's what we're doing next, and right after that we're going to put the engine back inside the car.
gonna bring any coils.
That's good, bro. That's over. Alright guys, we got the car back off the hoist. We got the engine installed. We have it set on some jack stands right now until we're done working so we can install the wheels. But all the harness is plugged in. The reason why I replaced it is because of this one pigtail that goes to the PCM, and it was damaged from the accident on the Trackhawk. So instead of replacing just the connector, I ended up replacing the whole harness just to make it look cleaner. These two tubes are is the reason why I had to pull up the supercharger, because those are different than the Trackhawk one. So I had to use some of a charger so they can line up with the heater core. But as you can see, even the angle of the supercharger got better. It's a lot better than how it used to look before, because I ended up lifting it another 3 to 4 inches. This harness came off the dash on the 300. So that is a skeleton that we have on the rack, what we're working on. We got the harness off the Trackhawk all wired up through the skeleton on the 300. So the metal part is off the 300, but the wiring behind it is all off the Trackhawk. That part goes to the BCM. This part here runs to the center console. That goes to the radio. That goes to the push button start. So as you see, for the most part, everything lines up pretty good. Like this connector is off the Jeep, but the airbag is off the 300, but it plugs right in. So most of this stuff we didn't have to alter. But the one thing that we had to work with is the steering column. So the 300 came with a manual tilt, and the Trackhawk had a power tilt. So the power tilt on the Trackhawk wouldn't fit on the 300 frame. So I ended up getting a charger power tilt steering column, and I installed it to the 300 frame. But the motors are swapped around. As you can see on the Jeep, the motors for the power tilt are on the driver's side. That's where they plug in. But on the Chargers and 300s, the motor is on the passenger side. So right now, what we're looking at right now is the plug. We had to extend it so it could reach the motor on the steering column. It's the same plug. It was too short to reach since they were swapped around. So when we're doing that, we had to modify some of the plugs just like this, because they were switched around or they're too short. But as you can see, for the most part, like that's another plug, and as you can see, it's short. So I have to extend it so it could plug right in there. And that harness is off the Jeep, so I'm gonna cut it off, probably put another 3 inches on it just to give it some slack, and then plug it right in there. One of them is for obviously the telescope to go in and out, and the other one goes from top to bottom. Here is the rear suspension. This is what we've been figuring out for the past couple weeks. That is the hub and the rotor off a charger. So I took it to my guy Dave. He re-drilled the bolt pattern, so now the bolt pattern matches the Jeep, which is a 5x127. But I wanted to run the Trackhawk wheels on this thing. So we were able to make the bolt pattern work, but once we installed the wheels, the offset of the Jeep wheels was hitting the inside of the frame rail with the Jeep factory wheels, because the offset is a positive 50 on the Chargers and 300s. I think the offset is like an 18. So the front works fine because the offset is working with the same suspension, so we didn't have to make any adjustments. But that's where it was hitting, right in there. So what I ended up doing, I found the aftermarket replica set of Trackhawk 2 wheels. So 2 wheels that are replicas, and they have an offset of 35. And I made these custom spacers, 10mm spacers, that's going to give me about 25mm adjustment. So the wheel is going to stick out, it's going to sit flush, and then everything is going to look right. And then we can run the factory Trackhawk wheels, because that's the look that I was going for. I wanted the Trackhawk look with the wheels, the yellow calipers, which we already got done from the powder corner shop, and you'll see it here in the video. But here is the transfer case. This is how we were working with. Obviously, the transfer case didn't fit. We had to cut out the floorboard to make it work. We had to make a custom trans mount, custom everything. The drive shaft is also custom, but everything is like, this is all fab work, man. None of this was plug and play at all. But here, I'm gonna show you on the passenger side, the Trackhawk has a harness that runs from underneath the car, but instead of running it from underneath the 300, I made a hole underneath the HVAC box and I ran it through inside the car, right over there. So you see that cutout? That's what we made. And now all the harnesses run inside the car. Nothing runs from the outside. We still have a lot of wiring to do. As you can see, everything is just laid in there just temporarily. But once we're done with the outside, once we're done mocking up the suspension, then we're gonna start working on the interior. So here is the fuel hose. The fuel hose, we made everything work OEM off a red eye, but the problem that we're having is the fuel line off the Trackhawk is too long. So see how long that is? That is gonna have a bend in it. It's gonna cause some issues down the line. And then the charger line, that's a charger line that I ordered from the dealer, it has the wrong curve. So when I plug it in, it didn't want to stretch how I wanted it to stretch. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna use the connectors off that line and make a custom line using the fitting that I have. So we're gonna cut those off. We're gonna put them on that custom line that I have, measure it how I want to measure it, and then we'll plug it right in. All right, guys. So I want to kind of explain what the whole offset thing is. So on the Jeep, it has a positive offset of a 50, right? So the more the number goes up, which is positive, the more the wheel tucks in. So as you can see, look at this line over here, this red line, and look at the positive offset. So positive means the wheel is inside. If it's closer to zero, a zero offset, the wheel tucks in more flush, closer to that red line. And if it's a negative offset, the wheel sticks out more. So the wide body wheels, I think they're a negative six offset. So that's why they stick out just like that. So what I did, positive 50 was too much closer to the frame rail. So we went with the positive 35, which is going to bring it out more to that red line that we're looking at. And then plus the spacer, it will give me that extra clearance just so I'm not rubbing against that frame rail. So I hope that kind of gives you guys an idea of what's going on right now. Alright, so there you have it. We got the fuel line all done. I was supposed to use these T-clamps that I bought. They're supposed to be a lot stronger than the clamps that we use, but those were way too big, so they wouldn't tighten up on the fitting. But it worked out pretty good. They're real nice and tight, so they're not going anywhere. I even applied some plastic weld to the outside of the casing just to give it some extra safety and prevent it from slipping off. So that is going to plug right in there, and then we are good to go with the fuel setup. Alright guys, so that's gonna be it for today's video. Before I let you go, I want to show you the wheels that I ended up ordering. So these are exact replicas of Trackhawk wheels. They're 20x10s, 5x127 bolt pattern. Only difference is instead of having it a positive 50, they're gonna be a little more staggered and they're gonna have a positive 35 offset. So that's gonna give us just that clearance enough where it's not gonna be rubbing against the frame rail and we're not gonna have any fitting issues. So let me know what you guys think about the new recording process. Would you rather me do voiceovers just like how I'm doing now and you can hear me a lot better, or should I just continue to record while I'm at the shop and have all that background noise going on? Thanks for watching. Sorry, I know it's been a minute since I uploaded, but we're back. We got some more parts that came in, so we're gonna continue to work on the Trackhawk build and hopefully get our first startup very, very soon. So if you guys are new, make sure you subscribe, hit that like button, and I'll see you back on the next one.